In this video, we will be giving our agent a fully functional weapon. First thing we want to do is we're going to open up our agent controller script, and we're going to add some new variables to it because we don't have anything for the gun yet. Other than, I don't think we haven't called anything in here yet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create some new variables. We'll make them right in between. We're going to have a serialized field, and it's going to be gun controller, and we're going to call it gun object. And we're going to have a couple bools. We're going to have can shoot, hit target, and has shot. And we're going to have them all equal to false to start with. And then we're going to have a couple ints. We're going to have int time until next bullet. This is so then that way we don't have the agent constantly being able to fire their weapon. Without it, they can just spam it and have an immediate, basically turn a semi-automatic into an automatic. And then we're gonna have an int min time until next bullet. Then that way we can always change how long we're gonna have. And I believe this is in milliseconds, which is 30 milliseconds. Then we're gonna go down to OnActionReceived, and we can actually put in these actions now. We want to start off with and make sure that can shoot equals false. We don't want to be able to shoot right off the bat. Then we're going to have a new bool, a local one, shoot, and it's going to equal actions dot discrete actions, 0th index, and is it greater than 0? Basically, it's going to return a true or false. If it's greater than 0, we get true. If it's not, otherwise, if it's not, then false. So we'll know whether or not we're trying to shoot. And then down here, below where we're moving, we have if shoot and there's the ampersand, and we have not shot yet. So if we haven't shot yet and we're trying to shoot, then can shoot equals true. You can probably, the next bit of code, just put in here instead of using this Boolean value. I initially had it set up like this. It works. I don't see a real reason to change it right now. You're more than welcome to try it out and see if, actually it should just work anyways, but see how I'm doing just can shoot. And then we're going to set hit target equal to gun object dot shoot gun. Oops, I don't need to do that, and I don't want to navigate. We hit target, and then time until next bullet equals min time until next bullet. Has shot equals true. And if we hit the target, if the target that we hit, so whatever we're actually hitting, if it's, if we hit something, add reward, and 30, we'll go and we'll mess around with, how much we want our reward to be, but then we'll end episode. Otherwise, we're going to add a reward, and we're just going to make it -1 right now. Very different. We're not punishing much for, missing something. But hit target, just a Boolean, shoot. Whatever shoot gun is returning. Right now we don't have anything in there. Other than, I guess, actually no, we do. It's just always returning false. That's why it accepts it. We'll fix that in a moment, but for right now, let's add in an actual way for us to test the gun. So under action segment, we're going to make an action segment, and it is going to be an int, and it's going to be discrete actions equals actions out dot discrete actions. And then down here, we're going to have discrete actions 0th index, because we only have one. Input dot get key. And then we want the key code. And we're just going to use the spacebar. And we're going to see if it's returning a specific value. And there we go. Now we should be able to take the space key and, determine whether or not we're actually returning, a signal with that. And whatever we are, if we're hitting the button, we should return 1. And if not, then we return 0, which we just want a 1 or a 0. And the very last thing that we want to do in order to keep track of when we can shoot, we're going to have a new variable, or new function, private void FixedUpdate. We're calling the FixedUpdate function. And if has shot equals true, you could, I suppose, just do if has shot, which we've done before, that kind of thing. If can shoot, you could just do if has shot, because it's just looking for if it's true. Time until next bullet, minus minus, if, and actually, never mind, I was saying 30 milliseconds, but we're decreasing it, we're decrementing right here, so it's really going to be 30 frames will pass. If it's less than or equal to 0, and oops, it auto-filled that for me, then has shot equals false. And that should complete our agent controller script. So let's go over into actual Unity. Let it load. Oh, and I have everything mixed up over here. There we go. So let's go into our prefabs, open up the gun prefab here, and we need to add a couple of things. I accidentally kind of forgot to put them in when I first made it, but we're going to go here, we're going to create an empty, we're going to call it spawn point. In fact, let's go ahead and actually, we can leave it in this name scheme. And then we're going to move the spawn point to the very edge of the gun. This is going to be where our quote-unquote bullet is going to spawn from. And it's going to go in this direction, so in the blue direction. And then let's go ahead and on the gun itself, we're going to create another empty game object. We're going to just call this raise. And we're going to add in a ray perception sensor, 3D. Move this up here. We probably could have added it onto the spawn point itself, but that works. And this is essentially how our agent is going to see, is from the barrel of the gun. So then let's do raise per degree. Well, we can leave, that seems like a decent field of view, about, human field of view. Maybe ours is a little bit further. I guess it depends on the person. But we're going to make it so that it's a bit more accurate. And then we'll change the size, which actually we can't see how far this is because we need to move the agent. Unless I just do ray length. There we go. We can see it's hitting the edge now. And we can see how big this area is. Max ray degree. I didn't want to change that. I want to change this. And then I don't want to make it too... Oops, I'm changing all the wrong thing. The ray length too far because I wanted to explore a bit. We might adjust this later. But for right now, I don't want him to be able to see everything, across the entire map. And then he can just stand there and not have to worry about moving. And the zombies don't ever get near him. Although, if we have multiple, then, maybe they'd be able to sneak up behind him. In which case, we'd want him to actually be able to see further. But that should be it for the gun itself. So let's go ahead and actually, no, it is not. It's it for the prefab. But in here, we're going to go and we're going to add a line renderer. This is going to show us the actual gun. Let's go ahead and we're going to drop this down really low, probably right there. Then we double click and we can bring it down to 0. It basically gives it like a little trail, like it's going to be thinner at the end and at the beginning. Not that it really matters, it's a solid line that we have appearing that's kind of ugly, but oh yeah, and there we go. We can actually see the distance now. He's a decent distance. I think that's good. For the color, actually it looks like I already have a preset here. I basically just went and I changed the color and then deleted one end, which if you were to, oops, go back, we should do it. Oh, I'm just duplicating it, but when you click, hit delete, makes it one color. I think that's actually what we want. So we'll go with that. It should now just be red. And then let's go back into our scripts. And we're going to go to the gun controller and actually, make this do something. So it's first, we're going to have some variables. There are going to be serialized fields, so it did guess that correctly. And let me just go ahead and duplicate this a few times with Control D, because they're all going to be this. We have a transform, and it's going to be spawn point. This is, the spawn point we just made. It's where the bullet's going to originate. And we want a line renderer to render our bullet so we can see it. You don't necessarily have to do any of this if you don't want. I did it just that way there's a visual that we can see. And I just call it laser line. And then float laser duration, which we might actually need to adjust that in the editor. I will need to double check that because I didn't think about that ahead of time until now that I'm writing this out. I think I messed with that before. The range is going to be 600F. Doesn't really matter too much because we have the wall so high, but if you have them lower, it'll eventually stop instead of continuing on forever. Okay, well now that we have this, we can go ahead and remove this return false. And we're going to do if physics dot raycast. And we're going to have spawn point dot position transform dot forward out raycast hit then laser range. I believe I'm missing. What am I missing here? What's it mad about? We got this one, we got this one. I mean, obviously, oh, maybe it's just mad I don't have a, yep, there we go. Okay, and then laser line dot enabled equals true. And then laser line dot set position. The first position, the 0th position, is the spawn point dot position. Then laser line dot set position, the first position, and it's hit dot point. And so this hit is here. This is basically it's saying if we hit something with the laser, return what we're hitting, the area. Then we're setting the end of the laser point that we're drawing to that object and the beginning to be from spawn point. And we're telling it to, should be in the forward direction, from the spawn point position. You guys can read up on it in the Unity documentation about physics and raycasts, but this is just how we're, setting it up in order to draw this line, as well as to just detect when we hit something. So obviously if we're in here, we've hit something. So if hit dot transform dot game object dot tag equals zombie. So if we've hit a zombie, then start coroutine, shoot laser. It doesn't know what this is yet. So let's go down here. We're going to exit out of this loop. We're going to have a private IE numerator called shoot laser. And we're going to yield return new, and we're just going to, oops, wrong, wait for, it's not gonna autofill. Wait for seconds. Laser duration. And then laser underscore line dot enabled equals false. So basically it's gonna wait for X amount of time, and then it's gonna call this, and it's gonna end the laser. So it'll display the laser for X amount of time. And I should capitalize this, shoot laser. And then if we hit a zombie, we're just gonna kill them in one hit. So we're just gonna destroy them. Destroy hit dot transform dot game object. And then return true, because we hit something. And so we're returning, which we were looking at somewhere right here. Can shoot. Sorry, not can shoot. It was, oh, there we go. Hit target. If we hit the target, we're returning true, and then we're adding a reward. But let's go ahead, and we need an option for hitting false. So if we hit this, else, and I do have three ending states, one where we get points and two where we don't. This way we can kind of adjust the, maybe we can adjust in the agent script how we divide points for whether we hit, a wall, or say we have a fence, or maybe there's a box, or maybe there's a super enemy and we want to be able to differentiate maybe an ally, and it's like, hey, you're gonna get, you're gonna lose more points for hitting an ally than for hitting, a wall or something like that, or just hitting anything other than that. I want to differentiate. So we have an if and a hit dot collider dot game object dot tag, and for right now we just have it if it hits a wall, because that's the only other thing we have in here other than hitting himself, which is kind of hard to do when you can't rotate the gun in any direction and the bullet is light that when it hits something it just stops. It's not even real light where light bounces a bit. It's just it's absorbed. So yeah, oops, it's an if statement, so there. And then we're gonna start coroutine, shoot laser, and return false. Now with this, it's saying, well, what if we don't hit anything? Or what if, we're hitting something else that it doesn't always end in a return path? Well, if we don't hit anything, we're obviously, not going into here, because this is only if we hit something. So we're going to start the coroutine. It's not going to fill it for me, so I'm just going to copy and paste it. Start coroutine, shoot laser. And we have that set distance. Obviously right now it can't hit anything that's not a wall or a zombie. This doesn't really matter, but if you were to remove the walls or lower them down so the gun could shoot over them, or even give the agent the ability to rotate the gun, then yeah, that would, this is where this would come in handy. Return false. We did bad. We didn't hit what we were looking to hit. And I believe, we do need, that's everything for the scripts. But we do need to adjust in here once it's loaded. The agent, we're going to change the behavior parameters, because now we have more options. Let's go ahead and, I forgot to change this. We're going to change it to shooter. And then you can name it whatever you want. We're not doing training yet, so it doesn't really matter for now, but I want to have it changed anyways. And then when we go into training, if we're actually going to change the values in the training files, this will be handy. But now we have a space size of 4 for the vector, because now we have an option to shoot. It's no longer just movement. Stacked vectors, we can leave at 1. Continuous actions, that didn't change at all, but discrete branches did. We now have one discrete branch, and the one branch that we have is going to be of size 2. It's going to be either, we shoot or we don't shoot. And that, I believe, should be everything other than, telling it what this stuff is. So right here, gun. And let's go through and see nothing there. Walls and ground don't have anything. Agent. It's just the gun here. This gun, we do have stuff here though. Spawn point. And the line renderer. There we go. And I might not need, I don't think I need to adjust any of this. We'll see if, it breaks. Well, let's go in and see. Should be fairly obvious if it works. Let's go in. Hopefully no errors. I didn't miss anything. I did not. We can rotate. In fact, let's zoom on down here. And rotate, and look at that. It's a little hard to see, but you can see it up here. That beam just shows up. It's not very pretty, but it does show us at the very least, a visual representation of where we're shooting. Now let's go over here. And look at that. We're shooting, we're missing, we're racking up negative points. Oh, look, you can see those casts hitting, and then bam, we shot the zombie. And let's try doing it from up here. Almost. A little hard to hit. I'm not very accurate at turning with my arrow, with my WASD. But there we go. It's working. Very hard for us to aim, but the agent should be better at it. I'm missing all these shots. There we go. I hit him. So yeah, that wraps up this video. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be working on next time. Probably going to work on the zombie itself, making it, move, maybe be an agent itself where it can learn, or perhaps we'll just make it a dumb AI for now. So that way we can work on training our current agent, in which case the zombie, maybe we'll just have it where it knows the position of the player and it just moves for them. Or moves towards them, not for them. Moves towards it, and so then they just, kind of like a Minecraft zombie, or I guess probably in most games where, they just line of sight with the player, go from straight line from point A to point B. I think that's what we'll work on next time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to either, you hop in the next video to check out what happens next, or you branch out on your own and try to either implement what I was just saying with the zombie, or take it a step further and either, make the zombie an agent itself, or add some cool things to our own little zombie slaying agent.